AotD left the university and returned home. The next weekend, AotD planned to go drive out to the port city of Faraway to the east, as it was the only lead she had. This lady in the water, perhaps she knew something or was connected to why Xzaviaire was attacked. Either way, apparently Xzaviaire learned something in Faraway which caused him to act strange upon his return. Therefore, Faraway seemed as good a place as any to investigate. Xzaviere's research, why he was attacked, the mysterious hatchet capable of killing immortal beings, none of it made sense. It felt like her search for answers only led to more questions. AotD, well, Sarah? Sarah, What? AotD, what do you mean, what? I asked you 3 times this morning if you wanted to come with me to Faraway. First you said sure, then you changed your mind and said ask again later. Last time I asked you, you said ask before I leave. Well, I'm going to leave in a bit, so what's your answer? Sarah didn't look at all interested, at least not anymore. She seemed too engrossed in her game. Sarah, a road trip to Faraway, huh? Sounds kinda boring, to be honest. I don't really feel like being cooped up in your truck for several hours. Not to mention you're taking the mutt along. Bleh. AotD, don't you want to see the ocean? Come on, it'll be fun. Sarah, nah, I'm good. I can see the ocean in my game. You go ahead and have fun. I'll stay here and hold down the fort. AotD, alright, if you insist. Sarah, oh, buy me a souvenir though. Something cool and weird I can put on my dresser, please. AotD, that's just like her. She doesn't want to come, but she wants something anyway. I'll think about it. Alright, I'm off. AotD left her apartment and drove off toward Faraway with Sunny, who gladly took the passenger seat now that Sarah was gone. It was a long drive that took almost a full day and then some. She took a quick nap halfway there and arrived at Faraway sometime the next morning. AotD found a lot to park in at the edge of the city proper and got out of her truck. Sunny hopped out of the passenger seat and came alongside her with a delighted look as they entered the city. AotD, this is Faraway, huh? It looks like I've seen better days, huh, Sunny? AotD, well, let's walk around a bit first and see what there is to see. Faraway was one of the few official ports on the planet. It was Frontier's largest city back when the planet was being colonized, and people wanted to come out to Frontier for whatever reason. In recent years, as off-world travel became much more popular, it was made obsolete by the more modern port of Nowhere on the other side of the planet. The city's airfield completely shut down, and the city became a naval transportation hub. That said, naval transportation in general was not a booming industry by any means. Transportation by sea, using ordinary sea ships, was far cheaper than air and spaceships, but slow, unreliable, and supposedly miserable. Sea ships were essentially only used to transport large quantities of goods short distances and rarely from one continent to the other. Monsters of the sea were known for being far more dangerous, at least on Frontier, than sky-based monsters. So, transportation by sea had never been a big thing on Frontier to begin with. When Faraway's airfield closed, it seemed to mark the end of the city itself. As AotD walked around the city, it looked even worse for wear than she gathered at first glance. She and Sunny walked through the desolate city streets. AotD, well, I guess I should start asking around about this lady in the water. Oh, I guess Sarah wanted a souvenir too. She said she wanted something cool and weird. What does that even mean? This is a port city, not a carnival. Should I even bother? If she really wanted something, she should have come with me. Sunny seemed to agree. AotD, should I buy Sarah a souvenir? I'll buy her something. I'd feel bad if I didn't. Sunny yawned and gave AotD an annoyed look. He seemed to disapprove. Sakti, don't give me that look. She asked me nicely. Or nice enough. How could I not? Worst case scenario, I'll just buy her another game or something. Sunny was not convinced. Sakti, I'm not spoiling her. If anything, you're just as spoiled as she is. How about I buy you a treat too? Will that even things out? Sunny seemed to like that idea. Sakti, yeah, laugh it up. I guess I can't say no to either of them. Sakti and Sunny walked around and checked various shops and outdoor vendors for a souvenir to satisfy Sarah's demands. There were lots of things one would expect to be sold in shops by the ocean, but nothing stood out. Many of the shops were just as run down as the city was. A good number of them were boarded up or vandalized. They came upon an outdoor vendor selling antiques with what looked like hand-carved figurines. Sakti examined the wares, and a peculiar figurine caught her eye. Shopkeeper, you interested in that figurine, miss? It's hand-sculpted out of the finest stone. Sakti, yes, well, no. It's for a friend. What is it, though? Shopkeeper, it's a monster called a Prutor. Their demonic imps send to crawl outside of houses and cause them to creak in the dead of night. They say if it can get into your house, it'll drag you off into the underworld while you sleep. I don't think they're real though, just fairy tales to scare children. The shopkeeper laughed at the thought. There was something eerie about the figurine as Sakti looked over it. Sakti, what's wrong with its face? Shopkeeper, oh well, it doesn't have one. That's why it kidnaps people, for their faces. A long time ago, my father told me the story of how it lost its face. He said it traded its face unto the goddess of all knowledge to attain renown unlike that of anyone else in the universe. What the imp forgot to specify was that it wanted to become known by all and loved. It indeed became known by all, but only through the fear it inspired. Without its face, it became a terrible monster. Sakti, so the goddess tricked the imp? Shopkeeper, I don't think it was a trick. The goddess just revealed the truth. Was the imp's face even real to begin with? Or was it just a mask to hide what it really was? Ultimately, the goddess upheld her end of the bargain. Nowadays, there aren't many children who aren't scared to death of being abducted by a Prutor. Sakti, okay, I don't get it, but I'll take it. How much? Sakti stuffed the wrapped Prutor figurine into her bag. The shopkeeper waved goodbye and thanked her for her business as she walked away. Sakti, that dinky little figurine cost almost as much as a game console. Sarah better be grateful. Sunny seemed to agree. Sakti, now to find this lady in the water. Sakti asked around about the lady in the water. She asked shopkeepers, workers, and various townsfolk, but garnered little success. As Sakti asked around, she noticed the large population of non-humans. She didn't really interact with other species that often, for no other reason than the non-human population on Frontier was quite small. From what she had heard, they mostly lived outside of the bigger cities. The Frontier government insisted Frontier was a human planet, and put out a lot of propaganda regarding non-humans. Sentiments against most non-human species were strong in big cities like Jealousy and Nowhere, at least from what she had heard. Sakti felt as though she had asked around the whole city by late afternoon. She had started at the entrance and had come all the way to the docks. She continued to ask around the docks among the various non-human workers who were there. While she asked around, she happened to overhear some of their conversation. Frogman, hey, did you hear? Fishman, about what? Frogman, they say the founder left the planet. Went back home to the Nexus, he did. Fishman, the founder? Who's that? Frogman, don't you know? He was one of the Arenka who helped establish the planet. He worked at the university, but no one has seen him in months. Fishman, oh, yeah, now that you mention it, I do remember him. I heard him speak a few times when he showed up on the news. All I remember about him was that he was always pretty critical of the humans and their government. So, why'd he leave? Frogman, the rumor goes he got sick of dealing with the humans in charge. Nobody knows for sure, though. He didn't appear much in public at all in the first place. People just started to notice he hasn't appeared in quite some time. Not to mention the Ministry of Truth hasn't even mentioned him in over a year. Suspect if you ask me. Fishman, you think him being gone will shake things up? Frogman, already has. I heard the council ministers is in a tizzy tripping over themselves in a power grab. Seems like all the loonies have come out of hiding to become chairman of the council. Fishman, sounds like trouble is brewing. Maybe we ought to get off this planet before things get too bad. Frogman, maybe the founder had the right idea. I heard Nexus has been pretty peaceful lately. Heck, even fighting on the Nexus with our kinsmen beats working for humans on some rock in deep space. Fishman, I don't know about that. I'm not looking to get killed in some dumb war. I wish there were more places to make an honest living in peace these days. Frogman, we'll just have to wait and see how things turn out. Sakti, excuse me. Would either of you happen to know anything about someone called the Lady in the Water, or know someone who does? Frogman, Lady in the Water, eh? That sounds like magic talk, it does. Not many around here know about magic but the old fortune-telling hag who begs over by the end of the old Weststock. Fishman, she's a strange one. I'd be careful about her. Some say she's a witch as old as the earth itself. She sits in front of a big monster-skin tent overlooking the beach. You can't miss it. Sakti, thank you. Sakti and Sunny made their way over to the end of the dock as night fast approached. Sakti reached a rather strange-looking tent with a cloaked lady sat in front with a table set up. The lady at the tent appeared to be a non-human, one of the Rakar females called a Seikar. Rakarian females were supposedly extremely rare. At least Sakti had never seen one before, not even in any books. Sakti approached the Seikar, but before she could say anything, the cloaked lady held out her hand. Fortune teller, some change for your fortune. Sakti handed her a small amount of cash. Sakti, I don't need my fortune told, but I do have a question for you. I was told you might know something about someone called the Lady in the Water. Fortune teller, indeed, I do. Sakti, can you tell me more about them? Fortune teller, first, tell me, what will knowledge of the Lady in the Water do for you? Sakti, I want to use it to help my friend. He was attacked and he's very sick and, well, I'm trying to help him. Fortune teller, just how will this knowledge help your friend? Sakti, I'm not sure. He was searching for her for some reason. I think it might have something to do with why he was attacked. Maybe knowing who she is will bring me closer to finding out who attacked him and why. Maybe then I can find a way to help his condition. Fortune teller, I see. The fortune teller thought for a bit before she answered. Fortune teller, very well. I will tell you who she is. In ages past, when mortals spoke of the Lady in the Water, they referred to the goddess of water, Runen. Though long has it been since the days people have spoken of her name, few people know or speak of such gods or goddesses anymore, especially not on a human planet. Sakti, I think I remember reading about the goddess of water, Runen, in Iskir's books. She was one of the elemental overlords, a powerful being who ruled over the universe at the beginning of time, alongside the other elemental overlords. Fortune teller, indeed, that is correct. Sakti, why would Iskir want to meet with such a being? Fortune teller, the goddess of water is the mother of all those whose soul is tied to the waters. It is said she laid out the seas and filled heaven's storehouses with water, that it might cast rain upon the land. Such power she could freely bestow upon mortals who garnered her favor. She could grant unimaginable power, power beyond even that of immortal beings. I imagine that power is likely what your friend sought, and possibly the reason he was attacked. Those who seek such powers seldom do so unopposed. Sakti, the lady in the water, or the goddess of water, is her power what Iskir needed to stop the threat he foresaw? The emptiness he wrote about in his research? If he was attacked because someone didn't want him to get the goddess's power, that only answered why he was attacked, not who did it. But the professor said that Iskir was distraught because he couldn't meet the goddess. So why would he be attacked if he never even met the goddess nor got her power? None of this makes sense. Fortune teller, did this information bring you any closer to finding whoever attacked your friend? Sakti, no. Fortune teller, if I may ask, why was your friend searching for the goddess of water and her power? Sakti, I'm not really sure. I think he foresaw a calamity of sorts. He thought that the elemental overlords might have the power to stop it. Fortune teller, I see. Well, I suppose whatever the calamity, the powers of the elemental overlords would certainly be able to quash it. Sakti, wait a minute. Iskir sought out the goddess' power to stop the threat he foresaw, the emptiness. The emptiness is the hatchet, right? Doesn't that mean the goddess's power could reverse the effects? Do you think the goddess's powers could help my friend? Fortune teller, the powers of the gods are said to be that of perfect magic, powers beyond mortal comprehension. Whatever your friend's situation, I'm sure their powers be more than adequate to help them. Sakti, if that's true, if the goddess's powers might save Iskir, then I want to see her. Fortune teller, I think it would be unwise for you to seek such an audience. Sad as it may be, if you require the assistance of gods to help your friend, maybe their recovery was not meant to be. Sakti, are you telling me to abandon Iskir and let him die? Fortune teller, think about it. You have some 80 or so years left in your natural human life, if even that. It is an extremely short time compared to other species in the universe. A human life is what, 100 years or so? If your friend was attacked for seeking out the goddess's powers, one would reason that you could be attacked as well. You may very well meet the same fate as your friend. Why not move on and choose to live out the rest of your life without such troubles? You said your friend was sick? Sickness and death are parts of life. Ordinary things don't last forever. Take this advice from one who has lived in the universe for far too long. Your existence shouldn't be contingent on angering yourself to another person. Especially you, a human. You have no meaningful time to give him, or anyone else for that matter. What is wrong with living for yourself? I think if your friend were here, they would agree with me. Sakti, you don't know that. You don't know him. Fortune teller, no, I suppose not. It is ultimately your choice to make. The fortune teller pointed out toward the ocean. Fortune teller, should you decide to seek out the goddess of water, take a boat out to sea and sail far to the east. There you will find a great maelstrom with a massive gate at the center. If you sail into the gate, you will find audience with the goddess of water. Sakti left Faraway and made the long drive home. When Sakti returned, it appeared as though Sarah hadn't moved at all. Sarah was in the same place, same position, and playing the same game as when Sakti had left. Sarah, welcome back. Did you get me a present like I asked? Sakti, yeah, here you go. Sakti held out the figurine of the Prutor monster she had purchased in Faraway. Sarah seemed surprised by the strange little stone statue. The figurine even got her attention enough to make her pause her game. She took the figurine and ogled over it. Sarah, this is perfect. Sarah hurried over to her dresser, threw a blanket off the top, and placed the figurine among several other oddities. Sarah, what do you think? Sakti, what do I think? It's very macabre. Sarah, right? Thanks for the present, I appreciate it. Sakti, she seems delighted, which is good because that silly little figurine wasn't cheap. Sarah returned to the couch and sank back into her spot. Sarah, so how'd the trip go? Did you find anything that might help Xzaviaire? Sakti sat next to Sarah and told her everything she learned from the strange old fortune teller. Namely, about what she learned regarding the lady in the water, who turned out to be the goddess of water, Runen. Sarah, that's a wild story. So, basically, if you go see the lady in the water, or the goddess of water, you might be able to save Xzaviaire, right? Sakti, right. Sarah, well, I think your next course of action is pretty clear. Easy peasy, right? Sakti, maybe she's right though. Maybe Xzaviaire would want me to move on and I should just give up. Sarah, after all you've done and how far you've come, if the old hag was right, you are so close to saving Xzaviaire. You can't just give up every time things get difficult. Sakti, I'm not, it's just... I wonder what Xzaviaire would say if he were here. Sarah didn't immediately reply. Sarah got up and walked over to her dresser for a bit. She fiddled with the oddities atop her dresser before replying. Sarah, well, you know I never met him. That's not important though. You are you. I know what kind of person you are. Perhaps he would tell you to give up on him and move on with your life, but that's not his choice to make given the circumstances. You get to choose what you do with your life. Sarah returned to the couch and squat down in front of Sakti and looked up at her. Sarah, so, what do you want to do? I think I already know what you'll choose. You want to see the goddess of water, right?